My name is Amiya, and I'm 21 years old, and I've just started my first job in the social sector in India. I've studied psychology and environmental science, and the project I'm going to be presenting to you today links a few of the things I value the most: the environment and justice. And I'm just going to start by sharing my screen. Okay, so I'm here to share with you the reality of a village in India of with 30,000 people suffering the consequences of other people's unsegregated waste. Specifically, the unsegregated waste of people of two big cities, 2.2 million people of two big metropolitan cities. So, if you Google Bandwari village, instead of seeing a map of a village, you will see a huge trash mountain, a landfill, an accumulation of tons of waste, with 8 cricket stadiums worth of waste being freshly added on a daily basis. Bandwari landfill has been built on a 250 feet deep abandoned mining pit, which is extremely close to the groundwater aquifer of the entire city, thus dangerously close to contaminating the entire city's water supply. This same landfill has been built on forest land in an area which acts as a wildlife corridor for leopards, monkeys, and other wildlife, which have been dying as a result of exposure to the contamination because of the landfill. This landfill, it doesn't end here. This landfill has been built near the homes of an entire village that have seen 60 deaths due to cancer over the last 12 years. And there are still people who are survivors of cancer who are still suffering from it. The groundwater of this village has been contaminated. And the groundwater of 5 villages close to this landfill have been contaminated. They can no longer use their water for drinking purposes, nor can they use their water for any other household purposes. They have to buy bottled water, which is very expensive over a long duration of time. And the craziest part of this, one of the most shocking part, and something that would probably merit a lot more attention, is that this Bandwari city is the 10th most polluted city in the world, and this is where this landfill has been built, and this is where all of this pollution is still occurring. And to answer the question you probably all are wondering about right now, in terms of what is it that happens to the waste that accumulates in these landfills, I'd like to share with you some statistics on waste picking. This is just Bandwari landfill. I'll just skip to the next. Yeah, so a waste picker is someone who salvages reusable or recyclable material thrown away by others to sell for personal consumption, to sell or for personal consumption. And the number of people engaged in waste picking in India ranges between 1.5 million to 4 million, which is more than the population of Iceland or Greenland. These waste pickers are not contractually employed, and they recover more than 50% of India's waste, which can be recycled. And so, a study conducted by Action Aid in India's capital, Delhi, found that of 2,000 households of informal workers that they surveyed, all were extremely poor. Many were migrants with no basic access to sanitation, water, and electricity. And more than half of these people were engaged in waste picking, and many of their children began collecting waste as young as 5 to 7 years of age. Multiple other studies have shown that waste picking in India is carried out by people and children struck by poverty, migrants and immigrants, and by communities deemed to be untouchable or Dalits by India's caste system. The caste system in India is a system of social hierarchy. There's an image on the slide where you can see the 5 divisions. So, in the caste system, one's position and occupation is determined before one's birth. So, right at the top, you can see the Brahmins. They are to be priests, scholars, teachers, and holders of knowledge and education. Then are the Kshatriyas, and they're supposed to be holders of positions of authority. Next are the Vaishyas, and they're supposed to be traders and merchants. Next, there's Shudras, who are supposed to be artisans and laborers. And below all of them in the hierarchy are Dalits, who are supposed to be street sweepers, sanitation workers, and manual scavengers. 70 years ago, the practice of caste-based discrimination was banned in India. It's a punishable offense. However, this form of cultural violence continues widely even today. Coming back to Bandwari landfill, I just wanted to show you a video. Can you hear? Okay, I'll just stop and start again. Yeah.
ये हवा जब चलती है ना, बहुत बुरी बदबू आती है इससे। पानी में गंदगी आ रही सब में। हाँ। कई आदमी बीमार काफ़ी हो रहे हैं गाँव के अंदर।
Now our groundwater near this dumping site is totally unfit and it cannot be used for any purpose, neither for agriculture nor for domestic purpose. And if you see the recommendation and summarization of this report, it says that water must be treated for removal of metal and also must be disinfected for pathogens before it's used for any domestic purpose.
आपका आधा लैंडफिल प्लास्टिक से ढका है और आधा नहीं ढका है, वो तो मान रहे हैं आप, दिख रहा है साफ, है ना?
नहीं, करीब 75%।
चलो 25% भी लैंडफिल आपका कचरा ढका हुआ नहीं है। हाँ, तो मान रहे हैं ना?
डंप करना है ना।
Absolutely no norms are being followed. Solid waste management 2016 rules are not followed, where it becomes mandatory for every household to segregate their garbage. MCG is not doing anything about it, but they are ready to spend crores and crores in managing the mixed waste.
Right. So coming back to Bandwari landfill, this is this is a story of environmental justice. And the environmental justice movement began in the 1980s in America, where activists found a pattern where contaminated soil was being dumped in landfills near communities of people of color and low income communities. Banwari landfill and many others in India and across the world have been built in a similar manner at the outskirts of cities, at the peripheries, where there are people and communities with little political sway and power. And what is it that can be done about this? Um, the government has directed that no new waste should be dumped at Banwari landfill, and that they are looking at an alternative site. But simply finding another site for dumping this waste will not prevent a similar situation from occurring again. And so the most effective way and solution that has been found has been preventive waste management, which is segregation at source, which is what my project is about. So 71% of waste at Banwari landfill has been found to be kitchen waste, and 12% is recyclable waste, and 17% is reject waste. So if you think about it, around 80% of this waste should just not be going there in the first place. And that's what needs to change. And Banwari landfill is a landfill where my community's waste goes to. And my community, my city is Gurgaon, which in 2018 was the most polluted city in the world. It was crazy. It's been crazy when it happened, and it's still crazy. And I can't really get over it, how bad the air pollution does become. Like right in the room where I'm sitting, you need an air purifier so that you don't develop some kind of disease, lung disease over a long span of time. And that's the reality of this place, and that's what we're condemning all these communities near landfills too. So it's really horrific. um I'd like to show the previous slide actually. Yeah, so there have been studies done, like this says, and like you can see protests from around the world, from Russia, China, and New York, where people who are near these landfills have been speaking up. And it's a systemic issue where disproportionately more um, more waste incinerators, landfills, and hazardous waste sites are located near deprived residents and ethical minorities. So that's something that I wanted to really highlight, that it's an issue at a systemic level. It's an issue of environmental justice, not just in terms of communities and location, but also in terms of India, in terms of caste, and how waste pickers are affected by it. Right. So coming more to the actionable part of this for my community and myself, um, what I've begun instituting, actually it's starting tomorrow. So the distribution of all the waste infrastructure has happened this week, and so from tomorrow onwards, where my community is going to start segregating waste into kitchen waste, dry waste, and reject waste. And later on, we'll also begin electronic waste segregation. And yeah, I'm really pleased that it's begun. Yeah, okay. And so I'd like to leave you all with a few questions, and I'll just pull them up. What is the ultimate destination of your waste? Who segregates your waste if it is not you? And if your city has a landfill, where is it located? And more importantly, who is it located next to? Thank you so much.